as though she were prepping for the arrival of a long-lost lover. Instead, the god of carnivorous butchery, the impenetrable Angus Aurelius, came into view like an unwanted dog. "Ho there, fair maiden," gurgled the sacred meat slicer. He raised a hand in greeting, as though she were likely to swoon in his presence. "Oh, it's just you," she yawned verbally, somewhat like a tired old witch. "Who are you expecting?" he teased her. "The Prince of Olympus?" "You're no prince," she spat back at him rather insolently in a half-hearted tone. "No, 'tis true, I'm not young any longer, but then again, I am an immortal." There he went again, raising at least one finger for the second time. "Yeah, so aren't we all," she lamented with a deep sigh. "So aren't we all." Just then, the god of old war movies, a brusque, ruddy-cheeked gent named General Tompkins, wandered onto the scene like a dingy, lost sheep. He was dressed in full military regalia for old time's sake, on top of his ghostly white toga. He even had a gun with him, but it was loaded with little more than a few rounds of spiritual whimsy. "Howdy, General," beamed the butcher. "What brings you to the heights of North Elysium? I trust that we're not being invaded by an army of flesh-eating riffraff." "At ease, butcher boy. It's nothing like that. Just thought I'd take myself a stroll, get the old blood pumping and the lung-sucking wind." He breathed in voluminously through his hairy nostrils after he had said this. "We're immortals, General. Aren't you forgetting?" Dynamo butted in, saying, "You're so preoccupied with eternity, you jackass. Can't you give it a rest for a while?" She rolled her eyes up toward Zeus's lair in the clouds as she did so. Angus politely chuckled at her boldness. "Now look here, missy." Then entered the goddess of intellectual decompression into the fray. Folks just call her Duzzy. "Fancy meeting everyone here. So how go the party preparations?" "Party preparations?" mused the general. "What party?" "Zeus and Hera," Duzzy continued. "It's their 1 millionth wedding anniversary." "Shh!" warned Dynamo. "Do you want anyone to hear you?" "Like it's any big secret," interjected Angus. "1 million years is a long time," replied the infertile one. "Yeah, that's just about how long it'd take you to have a kid," laughed Angus. The general snorted gleefully at that wisecrack, then knew enough to keep still only a moment later. "You two mountain goats ought to be ashamed of yourselves," chided Duzzy. She then put her dreamlike arms around Dynamo's shoulders, patting them gently to comfort her ancient school chum. There, Di, don't listen to these celestial boors." "I'm all right, Duzzy. I'm not offended in the least." Many centuries of denial had made her into a patterned liar on that score. "All the same, you shouldn't be subjected to such folly." "You're so sweet," beamed Di. In no time flat, the incident had already passed like a warm summer breeze. The fifth deity to enter the conversation was none other than Quetzalcoatl, a misshapen dude from Aztec times with serious equilibrium problems, the god of tripping and falling down stone steps. "So what brings everybody to North Elysium?" was his boilerplate query. "It's Hera," answered Duzzy, "and Zeus." "Yeah," chimed in Angus. "Something about their 100 millionth wedding anniversary, or some crap like that." He made a propeller-like noise, as if to voice his half-hearted contempt for the planned celebration. 1 millionth, screamed Di and Duzzy in unison. They both pouted in disgust. "Whatever," retorted the butcher indifferently. As fate would have it, a winged messenger from Zeus happened to spot the merry fivesome from the rarefied air above North Elysium. He then flew down to find out what was going on, if anything. "What's this, a 5-star political rally?" quipped the messenger. Dynamo was the first to speak in response. She said, "Why, Momo the message bearer, what brings you to this limitless plane of spiritual monotony?" "Oh, nothing," he replied. "It's just that—" He seemed hesitant to bear his message. Something was troubling the poor fellow, yet he tried not to let on about it. "We weren't really doing much of anything," lied Angus. Duzzy interjected a similar theme. "No, we weren't really saying much of anything either." "You all looked like you were having a party," said Momo. "No, we weren't planning a party," garbled General Tompkins. Everybody winced when he said that, even Momo. "That's great," offered the messenger. "I'm glad to hear that." The gravity of something somewhat heavier than gravity itself appeared to be pressing down on Momo's innards. Dynamo continued along the same lines. No, we weren't planning a party, or having one. Were we, folks?" Everybody tried to keep up the pretense, but it all came out sounding like so much chopped liver splattering on a tiled floor. "All right, you've caught us red-handed," admitted Duzzy. "I guess the jig is up." "What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't understand." The faithful messenger tried to sound convincing, but really wasn't. Duzzy finished her thought from a moment ago, after quelling one last feeble attempt by Di to silence her. "Well, the truth be known, Momo, we were planning a party." "Yeah, it's no secret," said Dynamo. "Not now, anyway." "Right," continued Duzzy. "We were all busy trying to plan a surprise party for Zeus and Hera's 1 millionth wedding anniversary." "Well, that's great," laughed Angus. "Now the cat's out of the bag." Momo then dropped his eyes like two fresh eggs and stared at his feet. "What seems to be the problem, Momo?" inquired Dynamo. "We thought you, of all people, would be happy about that." After an awkward period of silence, Momo mumbled, "Zeus and Hera are getting divorced. They had a stormy, wild, titanic argument. I guess the universe just isn't big enough for both of them. Not any longer, I reckon." It was obvious to all concerned that the grieving messenger didn't wish to delve into any of the sordid details. "So does that mean that the party's off?" kidded Angus Aurelius, in a vain attempt at gallant, though patently mistimed levity. Duzzy and Di scolded him almost instantaneously. "Oh, Angus," they fumed, "what an awful thing to say." Nonetheless, Angus pressed the point with Momo. "Are you sure about this?" Momo lamented, "Absolutely positive." Nobody said a word after that. Everyone just went his or her own separate way. Everyone except Angus, that is. Once the crowd had finally dispersed, he immediately set to work dialing his trusty Olympian cell phone. Alone in her otherworldly boudoir, Hera heard the phone ring. Her servant Drosophila came in from the adjoining room to answer it. "It's for you, Your Majesty." "Obviously, Drosophila dear. After all, it is my phone." "I wonder who it could be," mused the Queen of Olympus. "It's Angus Aurelius," replied Drosophila. Needless to say, the Queen promptly accepted the butcher's offer of a dinner date that very evening.